Welcome to the Average Brentwood Teens podcast,
where we talk about our experiences
as a teen and share our
thoughts as a teen.
You know it.
Yeah.
Average Brentwood Teens.
In a dark room.
Well, yeah, Average Brentwood Teens in a dark room. You can't see it, but we're in a dark room. My name is Josh, and we are back with another interview. But before we get to the person we were interviewing with, right next to me is
Philip, your boy Q, Sean,
Seth,
Izzy,
Juan,
Chris.
And today, the person we are going to be interviewing, you probably heard a bunch of names from him. He's a professor. He's a chief. He's a doctor. He's an assistant principal. He's an astronaut. Whatever you can come up with, he is who you think he is. He is assistant principal of the Freshman Center, Dr. Chief Taylor.
Thank you. It's a pleasure being here.
How do you feel right now?
I am feeling on cloud nine.
So, welcome to Average Brentwood Teens. Have you ever been on a podcast before?
I have never been on a podcast. That's why this is extremely exciting.
So this is your first ever time?
First time.
Perfect. What do you guys think?
it's pretty cool actually.
he's
Because
got the right voice for it.
He's got the right voice.
you have like the announcer voice. I like that.
It's nice and soothing. And
I remember in the freshman center, just like every time you would say Happy Friday and stuff.
Yes.
And it's like it goes perfect.
Oh,
Right
it was beautiful. I loved it.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
No, it was Happy
Friday.
Friday.
If you ever been to the Freshman Center on Brentwood, Long Island, you're gonna hear that every Friday. It was the best thing on planet Earth. I loved it.
And then other people try to like copy it. There's this one time, I don't know why, a woman said it and she was like, "It's Happy Friday today, guys." And then that was it. And I was like,
What a mood.
It's Happy Friday. Get out of my sight.
Yeah, Happy Friday every Friday. But anyways, to start off our interview, we do this with all the people we interview. Can we be able to talk about your childhood?
Absolutely.
Perfect. So our first question that we have, what generation do you consider yourself?
One of the first things when I'm talking to young folks, I tell them that I'm a child of the civil rights era. I grew up during that time frame, and I experienced it all as a young teen, 12, 13 years old. I remember the civil rights marches. I grew up in a town where you had separate bathrooms for colored people and white. I can remember my foster mother sending us to summer camp, Catholic summer camp, and when it came time to go into the pool, the nuns had us play basketball off at the side because we weren't allowed to go in the pool. I can remember fun times for me was running away from the KKK. You know, we would go out at night trying to find out where they were having their little secret meetings in the woods, sneak up on them. Very dangerous now that I think back upon it, and then running for our dear lives and laughing all the way back home. So it was a tumultuous time. I experienced a lot, and I'll talk a little bit about this more, but it hardened me to the point where I had an extreme chip on my shoulder, and it caused setbacks in my life that I eventually overcame. But I'll get into that story a little bit more.
Can I write a book about you?
Yeah, this is already
Sounds
interesting. I like
sick.
how it is. So you already, you've actually had a taste and actual sight of those
experienced
civil
it
rights?
firsthand, front row seat.
Now we have some history in here.
Yeah.
Phil, can you be able to ask Dr. Taylor the next question?
Where did you grow?
So I grew up in South Jersey, and everybody says South Jersey, and that was racist back then. It was very racist back then. I grew up, my foster father was what we call today a sharecropper, uneducated, never finished school, couldn't read or write, and he married my foster mother, who was a beautician and did hair from the house. And the farmer gave us a one-bedroom, one-room house that had a sheet dividing the house for the private area. The bathroom obviously was outside. It was an outhouse. We had to go outside and pump water and bring in the house. And if we wanted it hot, then she would boil the water on top of the stove. Wood burning stove for heat, and obviously no air conditioning. I can remember working alongside the sharecroppers. So when it came time to do the harvest, you would have your sharecroppers that would come from mainly Mexico, migrate in, and work on the farm, and I would be working right alongside them in the fields. And as I tell people all the time, I've picked every fruit and vegetable known to man. I really cherish those times, and because I went to school with those kids, and we were all in the same boat as far as being secondhand citizens.
So, Seth, you got a question for the great Dr. Taylor?
I do. So, growing up, what were your favorite and least favorite subjects in school?
Phys ed. I really have to tell you, and I tell my son this all the time. I said, I don't remember reading a book from the entire time that I was in school from cover to cover. Even the one that says "See Jane Run," I don't remember reading the book from cover to cover. Obviously, I didn't do too bad in grade-wise, although I just barely got by because I had received an appointment to the Air Force Academy. Now, my grades were just short of actually getting into the Air Force Academy, and I was offered to go to the Air Force Academy prep school for 2 years to bring my grades up and then move over to the Air Force Academy. But foolish, young, and thinking that I knew everything, I turned down that opportunity, which could have really changed the outlook on my life.
I mean, you're here, bro.
Yeah,
You're
you're
the
at Average
greatest
Brentwood
place in the
Teens at the Brentwood Public Library. Sean, a question for the great Taylor.
Did you hang out at the library as a teenager?
Absolutely not.
Aw.
I mean, like, we
I remember where the teachers would take you to the library, and back then you had index cards. So you didn't go have a computer where you could look up the book on the computer. You had to go to the index cards and find out where the book was located, and then find your way back to the shelves. I was into comic books. I was into Marvel. But outside of that, education just wasn't important to me. And probably one of the reasons why education wasn't that important to me, I just wasn't, number one, I wasn't committing myself, but it was a tumultuous time. Like I said, it was discrimination. I can remember the guidance counselor calling me down at the beginning of the school year, and she said to me, she goes, your grades are really not that good, and I'm concerned that you might not have enough credits to graduate from high school. So she said to me, what we're going to do is we're going to put you in a Future Farmers of America class so that you can learn a trade, so at least you have something to fall back on once you get out of high school. Future Farmers of America class was basically to teach you how to be a farm hand. Now, like I had said, I had worked right alongside the migrant workers. My father was, in essence, a sharecropper. He got a little one-room house. He was able to grow vegetables. They gave him a cow, a couple animals to kind of feed the family. But one thing I knew, although I wasn't too smart at the time, that I wasn't going to work on any farm. So they stuck me in this course, and you go into the course, and it's made like a big shop area. 1/3 of the room is divided by a cage because they have all the expensive farm equipment behind that cage that they keep locked up if they're not using it. First day in class, the white folks were extremely rich in that town because it was a farming town, big farms, lots of people working for them. The kids had the best of everything, had cars as soon as they could drive them. So I'm in the Future Farmers of America class, and as I said, I already have a chip on my shoulder. A couple of the white male students, because it was only males, we didn't have males and females taking Future Farmers of America. Females had to take home ec. Two of the white guys playing around made a hangman's noose. Well, it didn't take much for me to want to fight anyhow. I'd fight if you looked at me wrong. I was throwing elbows, fists, chairs, tools, anything I could find. A lot of people filed into the room and tackled me down to the ground. And of course, I was the one that was, out of line, unacceptable to be in that school. And I actually got expelled from school. My foster mother at the time raised such a fit with the Board of Education that they sent me to a place called Salem Vocational Technical School, which is what you guys call BOCES.
Oh.
At BOCES, it was all inclusive, unlike BOCES here, where half a day you're doing your major subjects, and the other half of the day you're doing your technology classes. I finished out doing 3 years at Salem Vocational Technical School, and I learned auto mechanic and auto body. And that's really where I started to excel, and I kind of take a step back and say, you know what? There are some things that I'm good at. Being that I was heavy in mechanical knowledge, I had got a chip on my shoulder and decided, ill-advised, not to accept that prep school Air Force Academy position. I decided to go into the regular Air Force, and I scored high enough to be an aircraft mechanic.
I like that.
I'm
If you
trying
don't-
to make the plot line of the whole movie we're gonna make.
If you don't mind me asking, a little side question. When were you born?
I was born in 1959. I'm 60 years old.
Are you
You do
serious?
not look
Yes.
60.
You look
a day over 30.
Yo, you look 30.
Yeah.
Yeah, you look
damn.
30.
And the fact that happened only 60 years ago. That's crazy.
Things have changed, haven't
So
they?
I saw you
Yeah.
guys doing the math, adding up. Oh, he was back during the civil rights area? How old is this guy?
I'm sorry. I really just had to know. I had to know how
Yeah.
long this was ago.
Mhm.
Wait, you said you read comics, right?
Yes.
Wait.
Who was your favorite superhero?
Marvel. You know what? There's something
Specifically,
about
like-
Batman and
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
Yes. Spider-Man. I like
Wow.
Spider-Man.
All right, cool.
What are your best memories growing up?
Hanging out with the fellas.
With the boys.
The boys.
Hanging out with the fellas, and let me tell you, we survived in our environment, and we had a good time doing it. I can remember being at the high school dance, and again at the high school dance, you had all the people of color on one side of the gym and all the other folks on the other side of the gym. And I can remember saying to my friends, I was like, why is it that we have to dance with girls on this side of the room? Girls on the other side of the room look just as attractive. So we strolled over to the other side of the room with our chest pumped out, walked up to a girl, they were petrified. Obviously, they weren't going to dance with me. But the guys got so, like, how dare these black guys walk over to our side and approach the white girls and ask them for a dance? And then it was on. A big fight broke out.
That's like straight out of a movie.
The administrators and the chaperones turned up all the lights. Once the lights went up, we went to running. Started running, and I can remember running around town. And I ducked around the house, and one of my best friends his name was Ralph. And I said, Ralph, is that you? Ralph. And then all I saw was like stars. I ran into one of the other guys. It wasn't Ralph.
Why did you make
And got
Why
clocked.
is this a movie? Chief, why is this a movie? Why is this a movie?
This is gonna be the most
should have made a
greatest
movie out of
movie.
this.
This is gonna be sick.
So,
Those were those are fond memories for me.
all right. So you said your greatest memories were hanging out with the boys. Now, I'm gonna bring it back a little bit. You said that you went into the woods
Mhm.
and looked for where all like the
The
Klan
Ku Klux
squad-
Klan.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, I was sitting here thinking, did y'all just like run out, say, "Hey, we're over here," and then run and laugh? I'm just like curious.
No, not at all. We were curious to see what they were doing. So it wasn't a dare type thing like hey, we're here. No, we were ducking down and looking and seeing what they were doing, and they had the fire stakes and stuff like that. And so they're doing their thing, and then it's always the case. One person kind of looks around and sees somebody in the woods and goes, "Who's that? Who's that?"
Yo.
And then we were running for our dear lives. God knows what would happen if those guys ever caught up with us. Because back then they were actually lynching people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was crazy back
Right.
then. Izzy, give Dr. Taylor a question.
All right. If you could go back in time, what advice would you give to your teen self?
If I was able to go back in time to take education more seriously, I tell folks all the time, if I didn't wise up until I went into the military. I didn't really take education seriously until I was sitting down at the kitchen table with my 8-year-old son trying to do his math homework and saying to him, like, ooh, this one's rough for me too. Are there any answers in the back of the book? And that's when I decided that, if I wanted to be the father that I thought that I should be for my son, then, hey, I needed to go back to school, and that began my journey. But I tell folks all the time, if I started off with the motivation and the spirit and the will to succeed before then, when I was in school, I would have been President Obama.
Oh, that would have been so
would've been amazing.
cool.
I believe
That would have been amazing.
No way.
Would you shout Happy Friday every day?
Oh, that'd be amazing.
Yes.
Come on, Chip, you should have done it.
Just
Specifically,
give everyone a text message. Happy
a
Friday.
state mandated like TV
When
channel.
I started,
I would vote for you.
When I started talking to young folks, one of the things that I would say, and I really kind of coined this when I was running the junior ROTC program at the high school,
Law.
and it's not profound, but it's one of the things that I say to myself and I say to young folks every day. And it starts off and it goes like, I am somebody.
Somebody. I remember
If you don't
those.
believe in
I am
yourself,
MVP.
I
nobody else
remember
will
this.
believe in you. I can
I can
achieve.
achieve.
Like I said, I never read a book from cover to cover the entire time that I was in school, but I stand before you today with a doctoral degree in education.
Oh, you said this
Not
during the first day
only-
of school.
Not only a doctoral degree in education, I have more degrees, and I'm not bragging, but I have more degrees than anybody that's in the school district. Multiple master's degrees, multiple bachelor's degrees, a whole slew of associate's degrees. So anybody can achieve. It's not how fast you run the race. The important thing is that you run your race. And then the last thing I say to young folks, I will be successful. Success is measured in individual terms. What's successful for me may be different than what's successful for you. But I will be successful. No matter what obstacle I have to overcome, no matter what challenge that I encounter, no matter what setbacks I encounter in life, I keep my eye on the prize. I will be successful.
I remember this speech
Mhm.
the first day in the freshman center. That's why I started liking you, because I love that.
Yeah.
I love that energy. That was amazing.
Chief, you remember all the clubs you used to do, help kids such as Earn and Learn and RTC?
Right.
My sister learned a great deal from you, and she's doing well at a car dealership right now.
Awesome.
Car dealership?
Yeah, those are the things that really drive the spirit, and that you're like, hey, you're making a difference.
So, now that we got your childhood and teenage years covered up, we have a small commercial we'd like to play. Juan, do you want to press the button one last time?
Sure, man, with my extendable arms.
Do you want instant access to movies, music, comics, audiobooks, and ebooks? Well, you're in luck. With just your public library card, you can now get all these free things through Hoopla.
So what is Hoopla? Hoopla is a digital platform that instantly lets you borrow movies, comics, music, audiobooks, and ebooks, and so much more. What is better is that there's no waiting, no late fees, and everything is always available 24/7. All you have to do is download the app or go to hoopladigital.com. Register with your library card number, and the world is yours.
Hoopla. Welcome back to Average Brentwood Teens at the Brentwood Public Library, where teens talk about their teen experiences as a teen. That's a lot of T's. And we are here with Dr. Chief Taylor. How you feeling?
Feeling very good.
We just got over some stories on his childhood and teenage years.
Which should be movies.
Oh,
Very
yes.
inspirational.
I like it. I feel like it actually is like a really great story.
Can I like take the ideas, bro? I'll give you like 10% of royalties.
10. You better give him 25.
Nah.
30.
Okay, we'll put it to 26.
Just give him half. Give him half. They're his stories. Come on.
30's fair because the
25
production.
Anyways,
That will be on another episode. We'll talk about movies another time. But, Dr. Taylor, can we be able to talk about where you currently are right now?
Sure.
But before I talk about your position as assistant principal at the Freshman Center, I would like to ask you some questions about the Air Force? Because I actually didn't know that you was in ROTC.
Right. Right.
So
Well, I was in the Air Force, the regular active duty Air Force, and then after I retired, I went into junior ROTC.
So when did you decide to join the Army, and was it a hard decision?
Well, I decided to join the Air Force when I was a teenager. Like I said, I worked in the fields. We didn't have McDonald's and we didn't have the malls, so I picked the crop in the fields, and I worked in chicken houses. So I was all about making the money. I had the opportunity to go out for the football team, and I didn't because I said, hey, I want to make money. One of my foster parents had said to me, I had said, hey, can I have some Converse sneakers for Christmas? And she goes, well, you're going to get a pair of sneakers, but they're not going to be Converse. So I said, okay. I said, then I'll just go out and make money and buy my own Converse sneakers. And that's kind of the attitude that I've kind of taken in life.
A little hustle.
So I'm doing a paper route, and I had a car. I was one of the, as far as in my block and the group that I hang out with, I was the only one that had a car, became the chauffeur for everyone. And I did a paper route, and I stopped at this one house, and he had a sharecropper plane. Have you ever seen a sharecropper? It's a little single-engine plane that flies up, and it spreads insecticides all over the field.
A crop duster, right?
Crop duster, yes. So, normally when you're doing a paper route, you're just throwing the paper up near the front door. And then, once a week, you go up to the house, and you knock on the door, and they'll give you the money for the paper. So I got up enough courage to go up to this door, and I knocked on the door, and I said, I'm here to collect for the paper. And he gave me the money for the paper, and I just stood there. And he goes, hey boy, what are you waiting for? And I said, well, sir, I noticed you have a crop duster in the barn back there. And I said, I've always been fascinated with flying planes. And I said, I'll do anything for you. I'll do any dirty job. I'll work for as many hours as you want me to work. I said, if you could just take me up in the plane one time that you're up for just a run, just because I love planes. And he looked at me and he said, you are never going to fly. So I kind of, did a Michael Jackson moonwalk, walk off the thing. And most people would say at that moment that you would be tarnished by that experience. But I said, you know what? There are more planes on this earth than the one that's hanging out in this barn. And that became my desire to go in the Air Force, which was interesting because most colored people were going in the Army. Number one, they couldn't score high enough on the ASVAB test. Like I said, I had an opportunity to go to Air Force Academy Prep School, turned that down, but I scored high enough on the mechanical, and I decided to be an aircraft mechanic. And that's what I did pretty much for 27 years until I made the top enlisted rank.
Wow, you made the top enlisted?
Top enlisted rank. I not only made the top enlisted rank, Chief Master Sergeant. Out of all the men and women that are in the Air Force, which are a lot if you think about it, only 1% are promoted to Chief Master Sergeant.
And you got into that 1%?
And I got into the 1%ers. And
Congratulations.
then when I got into the 1%ers, I became a MAGCOM Command Chief.
What is that?
A MAGCOM Command Chief, you have your major commands. And for instance, you have United States Strategic Command, you have Air Force Material Command, you have Military Airlift Command. There are about 10 major commands that make up the Air Force. An interesting story, I was at McGuire Air Force Base. I was very well liked by the 3-star general. And he said to me, he goes, Chief Taylor, he goes, the Admiral over at United States Strategic Command has a Navy command chief that's an alcoholic. He has 6 months before he can retire. He doesn't want to, he wants to let him basically put him on the shelf, not take any administrative action, but he needs a new command chief. Unheard of where you have an Air Force Chief Master Sergeant go work for another service admiral. For instance, if I was a command chief in the Air Force, I'd work for a Air Force general officer. If it's a Navy admiral, then you would have a Navy command chief working for that admiral. I was fortunate enough because I came highly recommended that I went to work for a 4-star admiral. I had the second highest enlisted position in the Air Force. The highest being number 1, your Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force. And then after that are your 10 major command chiefs. And that's the position that I achieved before I retired.
So you have done a
lot.
lot. Yeah, a lot in your lifespan. That's crazy, and you're still continuing.
Yes.
Actually, are you?
Actually, yes.
You're still in the Air Force?
No, I'm retired from the Air Force. I'm retired from the Air Force.
What year did you?
Still looking to achieve greater heights is what I was referring to.
What year did you join?
1977.
1977.
Yeah, right out of high school.
So you had to deal with the Gulf War.
Yes. Yep. Desert Shield Storm 1, Desert Shield Storm 2, the Gulf War, Afghanistan. I dealt with all of that.
Wow.
So you are very experienced.
Yes.
I like it. I like that you have a lot
You
of
need a
knowledge on it.
whole episode.
You need
Just
a
for his stories.
bibliography of this dude.
If you,
He needs a movie.
I have like a completely unrelated.
Mm-hmm.
If you were to like say you were 20 again, and you had to pick a military branch, which one would you go into? Would you go back into the Air Force, or would you pick something different?
I would definitely go back into the Air Force. I would have accepted that prep school appointment, taking 2 years to get your grades up and then going over to the Air Force Academy. And I can tell you, in my mind at least, without a shadow of a doubt, I would have retired a 4-star general.
Oh, nice.
So instead of Dr. Chief Taylor, can I now call you Dr. Master Chief Taylor?
Master Chief Sergeant
Command
Dr.
Chief.
Taylor.
Command Chief.
Sorry.
Command Chief.
Dr. Command Master Chief Taylor.
Yes.
Juan, question.
What are some highlights for you from your time in the Air Force?
All great experiences in the Air Force. I started off in basic training. I was one of the things I noticed when I got down to basic training, because it's tough getting through basic training. But one of the things that I quickly noticed, I said some basic trainees had more privileges than other basic trainees, and that's basically where the training instructor had put certain basic trainees in leadership positions. Mainly, the big thing for me is if I was in a leadership position, I wouldn't be on cafe duty peeling potatoes or latrine duty cleaning toilets. So I said, you know what? Hey, I want to be one of those student leaders. I was athletically gifted. Like I said, I could have played football and I decided not to. In high school, they don't do it anymore. If you're in a sport and you place in so many events, you get a letter. So it's a big letter. For Brentwood, it would be a big B.
Oh, that'd be cool.
And it's on a varsity jacket.
Oh,
nice.
So
we need that.
Yeah, anybody having a varsity jacket, hey, you're a babe magnet. The girls are flocking to you because you got a varsity jacket. So my last year, I said that because while I was in Salem Vocational School, which is the same thing as BOCES, you're still allowed to play sports in your parent school. So I said, I want a varsity jacket because all the girls thinks it's cool. So obviously, if I couldn't go out for football, because football, you got to start off young. You just don't walk on the football team as a senior and think you're going to play. When it comes to track, though, hey, whoever's the fastest, it's gonna be on the team, and you're gonna be competing and representing your school. So I ran the 440.
Ooh, all right.
And I ran the mile relay.
Oh, you did the mile relay?
Did the mile relay.
Philip, you and me are track people. You know what the mile relay is, right?
So is my sister.
Yeah.
Ooh. So you were a track star.
I was a track star my senior year.
So
and,
you were.
Now here's the thing with that. I was a track star in my own right. That being, you're celebrated in your own school, because as a school we sucked. And we were having a track meet with our rival school toward the end of the season. And all of the people on track was like, look, it's like having a homecoming game. And we were like, hey, I'm not going out there embarrassing myself. I'm just not going to compete. And our track coach said, he goes, whoever doesn't go out there and compete, He goes, I'm going to pull your letter, erase your record, and you will not be recognized at the end of the year.
Are you serious?
Now, believe it or not, we had a couple people that didn't compete. When he came to me and he said, Taylor, are you running? I was like, yep, I'm running. Because I kept my eye on the prize, and I said to myself, you know what, I'm going to give it 110%. But if I get waxed, that's only one event. I walk away from the school year with my letter and my trophies.
So you were fast in the air and in the ground?
Yes.
Bruh.
Did you ever like become a captain? Like you train the trainees?
No, I never became a captain on the team. Although I ran track, I was pretty much an introvert. Do you guys know what an introvert is?
Yes, sir.
Pretty much an introvert in high school, loner. And so track was excellent for me because, hey, it's not about your social skills. It's about your ability to run fast around the track. My personality didn't really start to come out until I went into the military and I was put in leadership positions.
I mean, like, you're the chief, man.
The chief?
Dr. Chief Taylor.
What is it? What does a typical day in the life of Dr. Taylor look like?
It's interesting. And I'll start off by asking a question. What time do you guys get out of bed?
2 in the morning.
2 in the morning?
Depending.
Okay.
2?
I don't sleep, so.
To bed at 1, rise at like 5.
Okay.
Don't you?
I'm out of the house typically at 3:30, quarter to 4. Out of the house.
Yeah. Don't you live in
For those of you that don't know, I still live in not the southernmost part, almost the southernmost part of Jersey, almost close to where I grew up at. And so, it's a 2.5 hour drive in the morning to get to work, and it's a 3.5 drive in the evenings to get home from work.
2.5 to the freshman center?
70,000 school miles a year just going back and forth from home.
I don't know what songs keep you banging all the way through.
for your car?
That's crazy. Every morning?
I could think
Every
of a
morning.
You have crazy
For
power.
19 years.
Oh my god.
Respect.
So, Phil,
We heard you like to find students in the lunchroom and sing them, sing to them on their birthdays. How did this start?
Well, I'm a hands-on administrator. I like being out in the hallways. I like being in the classrooms. I like going into the cafeterias. I like going into the gyms. I think it's important for students to know me in social settings more so than, hey, I just got in trouble and went to the front office. So in addition to the Happy Fridays, I'm a big goof, so I'm big on costumes.
oh yeah, you came in with a sombrero and like a banana.
Wait.
Yeah.
Costume.
I'm a
So
banana.
one of the things that I do with the students in the cafeteria is I'll get in some type of costume. One of the more frequent ones I wear is a sombrero and the guitar, and I cannot play the guitar. And I go in and I just make a big to-do about celebrating somebody's happy birthday.
Speaking of,
And I'm not a
happy-
very good singer, which even makes it more hilarious.
Wait.
Can you sing? Can you sing right now?
Wait, hold up. I have some good news for you, Dr. Taylor. It actually, surprisingly, it's our moderator's birthday.
Oh my gosh, it is. I
So-
completely forgot.
If you can you be able to sing to our moderator, Mr. Poe?
Mr.
Poe.
Poe.
He shaved. It's so
And
weird.
Yeah. He looks better with his beard and mustache.
So it
Beard
normally-
mustache.
I would normally be in my get up and I'd go in the cafeteria and I say, I think somebody is celebrating a birthday today. And then all of the students would point to the student or students. And I go over and I said, oh, it's your birthday today. So I said, I'm here to sing for you. And I normally get paid for this. I have a lot of events that people pay me to sing happy birthday. So on 3, 1,
Here we
2,
go.
3. Happy birthday to you.
Cha cha cha.
Happy birthday to you.
Cha cha cha.
Happy birthday, dear Christopher.
Cha cha cha.
Happy birthday to you.
Será para la piñata.
That was beautiful. I think I'm kind of glad that this never happened while I was at the.
I'm glad that was summer birthday.
Honestly, same.
Oh, perfect.
And I'm
From
sure it's
outside
out there on a YouTube video somewhere.
Yeah.
Wait. Can we
People
all agree that
outside
his
must be
voice is
like,
beautiful?
what is
Oh,
going
yeah.
on?
Just like
Perfect.
Chief, seeing as you're still a principal and everything, are there any clubs in school you're part of?
Yes, there is. I'm the director at the Freshman Center for the My Brother's Keeper program.
I am MBK.
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 I love it.
Championed by President Obama.
Ooh.
And it was really designed for inner city school young men of color. If you look at the statistics, there is a high failure to graduate rate amongst men of color, young men of color. And even more alarming, there is a low college graduating rate for young men of color. So the My Brother's Keeper program was designed to capture these students and set them up with mentors and kind of guide them through the way. And like some of the advice that I've been able to share at this forum is some of the things that we do on a daily basis. Again, number one, letting students know that A, you have worth. Two, that you have goals and aspirations, but you just need a little guidance and putting you on that track. And then three, providing you with those opportunities and giving you that exposure to come in contact with organizations, colleges or universities, people of color that have gone before you that are in certain career jobs, and showing you that, hey, although you don't see it on a daily basis, there are people that look just like you and me that are able and that are succeeding every day.
I like that. How long have you been doing MBK for?
This is our third year doing MBK at the Freshman Center, and we just expanded it to the middle school. And that first class that was at the Freshman Center, we were able to, when those students moved over to the high school, that's when we started the MBK program for the high school.
Before the podcast started, I was told a fun fact about you. Can you be able to confirm this? Are you a car guy?
I am an extreme car guy.
So you love cars?
Excuse me, what'd you say?
I am an extreme car guy.
What car are you riding now?
Well, I have a couple.
Well, just
The
say
one
that. Do enlighten me.
Oh, wait,
The
Sean.
closest one you're near to right now, then.
Well, the closest one that I'm into is what I call my turnpike cruiser, expressway cruiser, and that's what I drive to work every day. But I have a pristine 2005 Chevy SSR. You guys probably remembered that, but it's a hardtop convertible truck that has a lot of modifications. And the last year that they made them, it came out with the Corvette Z06 engine. It is a 6-speed, and it is fast. And then the other car that I have is I have a 2001 limited edition Prowler. It's called the Mulholland Blue Edition. It's the only Prowler, and they only made them for 4 years, really for 3, because the last year they rebadged them as Chryslers. It's the only Prowler that was that the convertible top is the same color as the car. All the other Prowlers have black convertible tops. The Mulholland Blue convertible has a blue convertible top. Again, a lot of modifications to that car, and one of the things I enjoy is taking cars to a car show. And then the other thing that I have a 1996
oh dang.
Honda Valkyrie.
Philip is showing everyone a photo.
It
of
looks
the
like
car.
Syndrome's car.
Wait,
you know what I
Philip,
mean?
show Chris.
Now, for the guys that know about cars,
Hello.
you know, most of your tuner cars have 4-cylinder engines. This motorcycle has a 6-cylinder engine with 6 individual carburetors. The engine is bigger than a Honda Civic engine. So, and it's all chromed out.
For those, well, obviously you can't see, but for those that are listening right now, I'm looking over at Sean and he's pretty impressed. Are you a car guy yourself, dude?
Is that surprising?
Well, I mean, hey man, I literally just met you the other day and you whooped me at Tekken.
All right, that's not all right.
That's not cars.
Let's not talk about that, okay? But
Me.
I do like cars.
If you guys want to participate, you guys can. But
I will definitely
this
participate.
is mainly for Dr. Taylor. So, Dr. Taylor, are you ready?
Yes,
American or foreign?
definitely American. I am a Vin Diesel guy. There is no replacement for displacement.
Chief, what American car do you want?
I tell you, I like the car that Vin Diesel rides around in, which is a '69 Charger.
Next question.
The next one.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Manual or automatic?
There's no such thing as an automatic sports car. It has to be manual.
Hold on. I'm learning about driving. So what's the difference between an automatic and a manual?
Are you
Just
serious?
so yeah, I don't know.
Oh.
You have
I'm
to-
learning.
Okay, a manual, you basically have to shift the car yourself into a different gear.
There's also
So
torque
you also have
converter.
to like push a clutch. You have to hold the clutch and shift and then release the clutch.
What's
Keeping
a
it
clutch?
Oh, okay. So you know how a
I don't know
traditional
what a car
you know how a traditional car would have two pedals, a brake and a gas pedal? A manual car has three. There's a gas, a brake, and a clutch. The clutch is how you shift the car, and then
So it's the stick thing?
Yeah,
yes.
stick drive.
You know how you have the transmission, like the little stick you move? That's basically how you would shift the car into a different gear. That's the
Alright.
difference between a manual and automatic.
All right.
So
Okay.
my mom used to be a racer.
Seriously? Oh.
So she is like all about manual, but now she's a mom, so she has like automatic. So how she drives is one hand on the wheel, one hand on the stick. I'm like, Mom, that's not how it works. She's like, I'm sorry. It's
I need to meet your mom.
Next question.
Can we interview her next?
All right. Next question. Leather or cloth seats? Leather or cloth seats?
Leather. Cloth is when you can't afford to have leather.
Guess my family's broke.
Second to last question. Stock or custom?
I'm into showing a lot of cars, and for the cars that I have, I should have left them stock in original condition because they would be worth so much money. When you talk about collector cars, you're talking about stock, the way the car was when it left the factory. But I'm the type of person that likes doing custom things and personalizing my cars. So even the cars that I have, they're all custom.
Turn on the nitro boosters.
We have so much information on cars. We got to make this an
Can
episode.
someone wait? Hold on. Can
I'm
someone
down.
explain to me, like, okay, Chief, did
Yes.
you ever like put your music loud in your car, just like,
Oh
okay, wait, hold on, and like
I
you
have
thought
so
to
much
yourself, like, man, everyone else in the world has to hear this, and just like put down the windows
Drop
and
the
just like
top.
put on the like loudest volume as you can, because each time like I'm just walking through, maybe I go near Brentwood Market.
Oh my
And then like I hear like just I don't mind music, but like like I know with like I don't even have to guess. It's like some 40-year-old man that's alone and is playing some music, and all I hear is like
don't
Literally-
judge him.
mix.
Literally everywhere in Brentwood, you would just hear a car pass by with blasting music. I'm like,
You're talking about the go-karts, the ones that the high school drivers drive. That's what you're talking about. You're talking about all those Honda Civics that are lawnmowers. You know, you can literally grab the spoiler of it and start yanking the back cord and just it'll turn on. Like it's bad. I'm serious. They take go-kart engines and put it in the engine bay. Like they can't get enough of it. It literally sounds like somebody's like blowing into a soup can. Like it's kind of bad. Like it's a fart can on wheels. Like
You
it's
think
horrible.
that's bad? You know what's worse? Minivan drivers. Oh, I don't want to know.
Next question.
Chief,
Yes.
1970 Mustang Mach 1 or 1970 Camaros SS?
I've always been a Chevy guy. Ford stand for fix or repair daily.
He's not wrong.
So, final question: Lightning McQueen or Madar? Or Mater. my bad.
Madar.
Mater.
Wait,
It's been a while.
wait.
It's been a while.
Madar.
No.
Madar.
Lightning McQueen.
He's not Darth Vader.
Lightning McQueen or Madar?
Mater.
Oh my
Madar.
God.
Come on, get with the program.
Lightning,
Are we saying Vader?
Lightning,
Mater.
Lightning McQueen or Madar? Mater. Oh my God. I'm sorry.
Now you
It's
sound
an
like you're purposely
ER.
doing this.
Lightning McQueen or Mater?
Nah, that's a real question. What's his name? Bumblebee or the other one?
Optimus.
The Optimus, yeah.
Optimus.
Yes.
Optimus
Thank
Prime.
Voice bias.
But back to the Lightning McQueen and Mater one, you can't put them against each other. Mater wasn't a racer.
Okay.
Well, I mean, like, he's a
Alright.
spy.
He has
Mater?
guns.
Mater's a
Yes,
spy.
he is. He's
Mater,
fuego.
Mater, yes, they had Mater's tails, and
tails.
he was a racer in one of them, but he's not a NASCAR driver.
No, he's a spy.
He's a spy.
Yeah, but like
That doesn't mean
Discourse in the
anything.
cars
Yeah,
program?
did you
Yeah,
remember that, like,
thrusters.
the end
Yeah.
scene? Where
We're
he had, like-
literally talking about cars right now.
But Mater has personality.
Yeah,
You
what does
can't
Lightning
deny
McQueen
it.
Lightning
I am
McQueen
speed.
is a whole NASCAR driver,
Alright.
like
and you can't put. Mater is a tow truck. Lightning McQueen is a
he
NASCAR.
outruns
They don't work against each other.
His
I'm
personality
so sorry,
is
Chief.
I am fast.
we gotta we gotta keep that.
We love Sonic.
Ka-chow, okay?
We gotta keep
Like,
that for an episode. Wait, we gotta keep that for an episode. We gotta keep that for an
No, you guys
episode.
see you guys gonna see Sonic on Valentine's Day?
Yes.
Oh, wait.
No.
No,
Yeah.
we gotta keep that for an episode. We gotta keep that for another
Okay,
episode.
Chief.
Okay.
NASCAR or Formula One?
NASCAR.
ew.
All right. So, for our final question for your career, can we actually hold up? 2 questions.
Final question
Agree-
for your career.
Agree or disagree? Beards are awesome.
Beards are a pain in the neck.
Wait.
Let me
Have
tell
you
you,
ever seen?
I was in the service for 27 years. I was in ROTC for 16 years, an additional 16 years, and I really never had the opportunity to wear civilian clothes that much. You know, and you know how you are when you're in high school. You're kind of coming to within yourself, and you know you're expressing yourself with your clothes. I tell young folks at this time, that's what I'm doing. It's fun, not having to wear the uniform after all those years. And one of those things is the ability to grow a beard, because you can't have a beard if you're in the military. But they are a pain. You got to be worried about if you're eating food gets caught in your beard.
He's not wrong.
He really isn't.
My wife will tell you all the time, we go to kiss each other. She gets up with me when I leave out of the house in the morning, makes my breakfast and my lunch. And she goes, oh, yep, I got your hair up my nose from your beard.
Oh, okay.
I'm enjoying the experience of being able to wear different clothes and finally grow a beard.
So, with that, can I ask you our final question? Please, if you can.
Do you know
in
about
gr-
hoopla?
In great pinpoint detail, how
What?
do you keep that beard so beautiful?
I use all those products. I dye my beard. One of the things I had said that my adopted mother, first my foster and then my adopted mother, she did hair out of the house. So she was a beautician. So I learned how to do all of those things growing up and watching her take care of her clients. I cut hair when I was in the military on the side for side cash. So if you ever have you ever had to trim hedges at your house?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yes.
Having a beard is just like trimming hedges. You know, I'm in with a pair of tweezers every morning, trimming individual little hairs, and with the clippers, making sure that line is not straight, perfectly straight, and using the beard oils and making sure that the beard remains dark. It is a lot of work. You know, I feel for females that have to get their hair together in the morning.
You do great with it, though.
You know, they changed the regulations. You can have beards now in the military.
What branch are you talking about?
In the Army and the Marine Corps.
Well,
Your beard
they've
is
never
actually-
changed it so much. This is what you're allowed to do. In the Navy, you can grow a beard while you're on ship. Once that ship comes ashore, you have to shave your beard off. In the military, if you're a part of special forces, working in Afghanistan and some of our desolate locations, they allow those soldiers to wear beards. But anytime they get back to their home base, home stations, and they're amongst the regular military folks, they're required to cut those beards off.
All right. Well, with every person we interview, we have this special, how can I say, lightning round. So, with this lightning round, what we do is we ask you a series of questions, and you have to answer them as quickly as you can. Are you ready?
Okay, I'll try my best.
So, you guys know what we do every time now, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, let's ask him a question in 3, 2, 1.
Describe your worst
Did you get that?
No, I didn't at all.
Perfect.
We'll
So,
give you 2 bonus points if you can at least say one of the questions.
I can't.
Juan, first question.
All right. Do you have any secret talents?
My secret talent really is people skills. My ability, no matter whether I'm talking to young folks or I'm talking to old folks, is to have that personality that's inviting.
Nice. Izzy, question.
Describe your worst haircut.
I had a lot of them.
Same here.
Because when you're cutting your own hand, you have to be ambidextrous, be able to put the clippers on both sides.
Wait.
So I've had some jacked up hairlines. But now, because my hairline has receded so far to the back of my head, I just decided to cut it all off.
Honestly, I feel that. I really do.
Jade, question.
What was the last book you read?
Actually, the last book I read was We Beat the Streets.
Mm.
And it's one of the books that we're trying to get our young MBK students to read.
Can you describe it?
Isn't it like 3 doctors?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh.
Yeah. That grew up in poverty and went on to have successful careers. Another triumph over adversity.
Perfect. Seth, question.
If you owned a restaurant, what would you name it?
Tailor Made.
That's clean.
Steal the idea.
That was very tasteful.
Sean, question.
Do you have a favorite weird food combination?
Oh.
If I'm funny about anything, I'm funny about food. I'm not the type that goes out and experiments. When you go to a restaurant, we go to an expensive restaurant and they say, "What are you ordering?" Fried chicken. I'm funny about trying, exotic foods, and I'm the type of person that on my plate, my food can't touch. So my vegetables can't touch my meat. They got to be separate.
They have to be.
And if something's runny, it's got to be in a separate dish.
Yeah. It does.
Have you ever had dragon fruit or passion fruit?
Dragon for a passion fruit?
Dragon fruit or passion fruit?
Yes, I have. Yes, absolutely.
Quincy, another question.
What is your favorite cereal?
Captain Crunch.
All right.
Regular or with berries?
I used to like it with berries when I was as a kid, but it's sweet enough without it. At my age, at this point, things can be too sweet, so I like it plain.
Represent
Philip.
Chuck E. Charms.
Philip, question.
Who was your favorite superhero?
Favorite superhero was Batman and Robin, the old cartoon series, if you ever have an opportunity. Well, it was a cartoon series, but more importantly, back in the 60s, they had a TV show, Batman and Robin.
Okay, here's a question. Who would win in a fight, Batman or Superman?
Well, I think that's already been played out.
There you go.
But I thought you said you also like Spider-Man.
I do like Spider-Man, but my favorite is Batman. Second to that would be Spider-Man.
And third?
Third to that was Superman, but
Was?
now I've been introduced to the Black Panther.
And finally, for the last question, Should I really do it?
Yes.
Yes.
Do I really have to do it?
Yes.
Is cereal a soup?
Oh, what about the best sandwiches in the world?
Is it cereal or soup, or is cereal soup?
Is cereal soup?
Cereal is soup. Because let me tell you,
Validate
let me
your
tell you.
claim.
One of the best things I like doing during holiday break is, like most young folks, you know, you get up at 8 o'clock in the morning, you go to the bathroom, go back to bed.
All
Roll out of
right.
bed around 12-ish, close to 1 o'clock, go in the kitchen, get a big mixing bowl, fill it up with cereal, put a quart of milk in there, scoop the cereal out, and then after that, you pick the bowl up and you drink the milk.
I like him.
We all like him.
I like him.
Thank you so much, Dr. Taylor. You heard it
But
here.
Who makes the best sandwiches in the world?
Since Juan said it 2 times, go ahead.
Do you know who makes the best sandwiches in Brentwood?
To me, and I really haven't taken the opportunity to go to all the places that are in Brentwood, but I like going to, correct me please, Casa Vieja.
Casa Vieja?
Casa Vieja.
Yeah.
Casa Vieja. And they make that, is empanada considered a sandwich?
Oh, that should be our new.
All right.
New question.
If I may recommend a sandwich place, you should go to the Cubanita. They make a great sandwich.
Yeah, because that's what Juan likes. That's why Juan asked the question.
Join the Cube.
They make a beautiful sandwich, and it's only like $6, but $7 if you want it with cheese.
Okay, all right.
So thank you.
Wait. I have something that's very important.
We just keep adding to this. And I
Yeah.
love it.
Honestly.
Do you play any video games?
Oh, wow.
Anyways, Dr. Taylor, do you play any video games?
You know, really, I don't. Unless, you know, I played video games with my son when he was growing up, and now I'm playing video games with my grandson. But to sit there and play video games by myself, no.
Bro, what about the flight simulators?
Anyways.
When people talk,
Anyways.
here's the thing: when people talk about flight simulators, if you talk to a guy in the army and you can say to the guy in the army, "Which one of the games that you play where it's all shoot 'em up and bang 'em up?" Where guys are shooting guns and stuff on video.
Call of Duty?
Oh, yeah, you mean COD?
Yeah, any of those games. If you talk to an army guy and you say, "Hey, do you like playing that game?" He'll tell you no, you know, because I lived that experience. You know, I was in that war zone. You know, I saw people really get killed, and that's the same thing for an Air Force guy. You know, I did it for 27 years, so a flight simulator for me is like second hat.
Yeah. Anyways, thank you so much, Dr. Chief
Thank you.
Taylor.
Wait. No, I'm just kidding.
Thank you so much for coming down here. Do you have any last comments you want to say?
One of the things that you'll hear me say, and I said it, I started it when I was in junior ROTC. I'll say it sometimes when I'm in a classroom and students are in the front of the classroom nervous and giving a speech. At the end of all that, I said, it's been a wonderful opportunity to sit here and talk with young folks, and it has been an awesome experience. Thank you.
And you were listening to this at the Brentwood Public Library.
See you guys later.
Thank you.